What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Not So Daily Paul, or Getting Healthy Over 50, or turn that off, or I Don't Want to Die, whatever you want to call it. Today we're going to talk about how I got here wearing this thing. And somebody had asked, like, I thought you didn't pass the DOT, and then what happened, and all that kind of stuff. So let's get into it. So, obviously, I applied at Disney. I applied at Disney back in March when we were still in Los Barriles, and had pretty much forgotten about it because it was almost a couple of months before they contacted me again to do an online interview. And the online interview was around March or around May 1st to the 5th, somewhere around in there. So yeah, 2 months later. And then after that interview, they said, cool, we're recommending you for hire. And a couple of days later, I get an email that said, we have selected you for the hiring process. They don't tell you that you've got the job. It's just, we've selected you for the hiring process. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. What does that mean? We touched base with the recruiter, and they're like, okay, you need to write the written exam for your CDL. I did carry a CDL back in the 80s, I think around 85 or so. I had a Class A license for about 5 or 6 years, but I let that expire once I come to the United States. I got that when I was late 18 or 19 years old maybe, and had that through my 20s. But when I got to the US, I let it expire. I didn't think I was going to use it anymore. So I came into, I needed to write the CDL for a Class B and a passenger endorsement, and now they require an air brake endorsement, so you know how air brakes work. And so I thought originally of, okay, if I pass this, am I in? And they are very vague. They just say you will still be in the process. They never say you're hired throughout the entire process till the very end. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just fly to Florida, write the test, and then I'll come back and wait for the answer. And then I told Lori, look, this is going to be damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we don't go, they're going to need us there immediately. And if we do go, then they'll probably not need us. I want to err on the side of better judgment, and I want to head that direction. So we packed up out of Mexico, and we made a beeline for Florida. In the middle of that, we stopped in Yuma. Then we drove the car up to Las Vegas, pulled the last little bit of stuff out of our storage, which we had like a 4x5 storage, like a closet storage in Vegas. Actually, the Hamptons had pulled our stuff out of there, handed it over to Chuck. Chuck gave it to another friend of his, and he was storing it in his garage. It's a mess. But we had lots of other people who were helping us. So that was very, very cool. And we were able to pick that stuff up and bring it with us to Orlando, knowing that we were going to be down here for a little while. Got into Destin, Florida, where I wrote the test for the Class B CDL bus deal. Passed that, let them know, and they said, okay, cool, next thing you got to do is your physical. And I'm like, fantastic, I will be in Orlando in 3 days. They scheduled me for the physical, and I went in thinking everything was going to be great, and failed the physical. That was the whole blood pressure thing. And of course, the Disney doctors made it seem like I was on my deathbed. So a little bit of a scare, a little bit of a freak out, which was good anyways. It's something that I should have been watching, or at least, looking for at my age, getting a little older, getting up there, getting to become a seasoned person. Really, all in all, it was a good thing, because it made me pay more attention to my diet and health and activity and all that kind of stuff. So I failed it, and at that point they told me and it wasn't Disney that failed, it was the DOT. It's a DOT physical, and the Department of Transportation says we cannot have your blood pressure over 140/90. So they gave me two choices. I could opt out right now, or quit, in other words, or they would give me 45 days to get it in check. And I'm like, come on, I'm not a quitter. I'll take the 45 days, but I said, I will do it quicker. I will be back here in a couple of weeks, and book me an appointment in a couple of weeks. And they did. So I went off and went crazy for a week, running and changing my diet and just trying to get into shape and testing my blood pressure 40 times a day to see what the heck was going on. And within a couple of weeks, had everything under control, went back in to the doctor, the Disney doctor, and it tested high again. Okay, while I was editing this, I realized that I forgot part of the story. And that part of the story is I did go to a different doctor for a second opinion. And that was ordered by the Disney doctors because they wanted me to go to a different doctor, get a release from them that says that I was able to drive a passenger bus, so a DOT release. When I went to that doctor, they diagnosed me as high or as elevated blood pressure, not hypertension. So therefore, she told me, I can't give you that letter because that letter would say that I'm diagnosing you with hypertension, which I'm not. And so therefore, you don't need the letter. You are within the ranges that are required by the DOT. When I went back to the Disney doctor and told him that, he wasn't happy about that at all. He wanted that letter. And I told him that the other doctor, in fact, said that she wasn't diagnosing me with hypertension, so I didn't need it. And then he got a little upset with me, and I told him that if he was trying to get my blood pressure to be within range, that he wasn't helping. And well, just keep watching the video. And he said he wasn't going to be able to pass me. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I said, I have been checking my blood pressure on the daily, like I said, 20, 30 times a day. There's no way it's this high. There's no way. And I said, look, I've got an app that I've been tracking everything. And I showed him the app with all of my statistics on there. And he said, can you send me that piece? And I said, yeah, a report. I said, yes, I can send you the report. And he walked out. 10 minutes later, a nurse comes in and says, all right, Paul, you're all ready to go. And I'm like, yeah, I know. He said he wasn't going to be able to pass me. So I said, what now? And she just kind of looked at me kind of quizzically and said, what do you mean? I said, well, the doctor said I didn't pass. So I've got to go through whatever part of the process I got to go through next. And she turns the computer around and shows me a signed medical card. And I was like, I'm confused. He passed me. And she goes, you're good to go for a year. And I was like, okie dokie then. That's interesting. So I had emailed the report to them so that they had that on record. And yeah, we're good to go now. So after that, I had to go over and turn that medical card into the Florida Department of Transportation, to the DMV, actually, the Department of Motor Vehicles. They gave me the learner's permit for the CDL, went back to Disney and started the whole onboarding process to become a cast member here at Disney World Resort. So that's the story of how all this happened. I'll have more in the regular vlog as far as bits and pieces that I filmed along the way. Obviously, again, nothing in the insensitive areas that I could film, so I don't have it all. But that's the story of how we got this far and how I got into this costume that I'm wearing right now. And I am currently in training to become a Walt Disney World bus driver. I will be driving buses on property. I won't drive buses off property, like to the cruise lines or to the airport or anything like that, just right on property. Anything from guest shuttles to cash shuttles to Fort Wilderness shuttles, that kind of thing. So if you're in the park in the next little while, you may see me somewhere on a bus. Now, I will not be driving probably for the first 4 to 6 weeks. They are extremely short on trainers. So right now we are just doing what they call audience control, and we're just meeting and greeting guests as they get to the bus loading areas, helping them find their way to where they need to go. And that's about it. And that's going to be for the near future. But we've had some of the guys and gals that have taken up 6-7 weeks to get beyond that and get into training. So I don't see me doing that any quicker. So I'm just kind of going with the flow, and it takes whatever it takes. So I'm off to work today right now, and I work 2:30 until 9 o'clock tonight at the Animal Kingdom. And that's all I got for you in this one. If this is your first time here, it'd be awesome if you hung out with us a little bit, got to know us, and that means you have to hit that subscribe button. It'd be equally as cool if you liked the video, and we'll see you again in another episode. Have a fantastic day.